well, and nice to be here on a sunny Monday. I actually had a couple of weeks off from these lives, so I'm feeling feel kind of refreshed and ready to go again. So it was good to have a little bit of time to regroup and get other people engaged and get some new guests on. So I'm very excited to be welcoming Adna Sablyich tonight. So Adna will be coming on very shortly. So yeah, I hope you had a good weekend. I actually went to the hairdressers, so first experience in about a year, so that was great. So I feel a bit more presentable now than I have been. Okay, so we've had lots of great topics over the last few weeks, and if you haven't been watching, you feel free to go back and have a look at the videos and yeah, enjoy. So we've had quite a few topics from a lot around confidence, actually. Confidence, really, how to get back into the world again. And yeah, with confidence, managing anxiety has been a big thing. We had Jackie 2 weeks ago talking about FOMO and how to treasure your own life experiences. So that I found that really helpful, and I know I had feedback from others to say they enjoyed that too. So just how we can stop comparing ourselves to others and really treasure our own life experiences. Tonight's theme, so we have Adna coming on shortly, and Adna will be talking about how to be yourself, how to be yourself rather, and someone else. So Adna is a drama teacher and actress, and a good friend of mine. I've known her for 2 or 3 years now, and a funny coincidence where my husband went on an acting course just before the pandemic and was raving about his acting teacher, and then we discovered that my kind of mutual friend and his acting teacher were the same person. And he literally came back from work tired, would go out to went to his acting class, came back and was so energized and full of enthusiasm, and would share all these wonderful exercises and techniques that he learned. So I know he absolutely loved being around Adna and learning from her, and obviously shared the exercises with me, so I got very excited as well. So I'm really delighted that we can welcome her on very, very shortly. So yeah, so I've got a few questions. If you've got anything you want to ask, feel free to drop a message and ask away. And Adam's very passionate about the arts as well, and I'm really so excited for the coming months where things are going to start opening up again, theatres, and we can get groups together. I know she's going to be back to our local college acting and actually being face to face with people, so there's some really exciting times ahead. Okay, let's see if we can. This has worked so far, so fingers crossed. Adna, are you there?
Hi, Rebecca, how are you?
I'm fine, how are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. It's really exciting to be here.
Oh, well, thank you for joining me. I was just
Hmm.
talking about our the coincidence with obviously I knew you, and then Cole went on an
Yeah,
acting course and was raving about his teacher, and then we didn't realise it was the same person.
yeah, yeah. Oh, it's so wonderful to hear that. It's great. It's just wonderful to hear a good effect these classes leave on people. It's an amazing feedback.
Yeah, no, I know he got a
Mm.
lot. I know I've mentioned to you
Mm.
a few times, but he did. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just a big kind of boost, and I think yeah, obviously we'll be
Yeah.
talking about that as we talk through
Mm.
what the benefits are. But
Yeah.
anyway, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. That's amazing.
That's okay. Well, hopefully we'll get a few people joining shortly. And
Mhm.
I haven't done these for a couple of weeks. I'm feeling quite refreshed, and I've got lots of questions, armed with lots
Oh,
of questions for you.
great, great, great.
Um, so I
It, mhm.
go on,
Go ahead.
sorry.
Mhm.
I was going to start by just asking what you think, how acting can be of benefit to people, kind of in this period, kind of going back into, you know, normal life again?
Yeah.
So,
I think it can be of great benefit. But it was also really interesting to hear you say things are opening up, you know, now, just now in the introduction, things are opening up. It's going to be all exciting, you know. I'm slightly nervous about this opening up. You know, I think everyone is. I love my job, as you well know, and as your husband know as well. But you know, we have lived in such a dormant way for so long. We've all already built some completely different routines around our lives, you know. So, you know, a lot of reevaluation is now going to come out about who we are in comparison to who we used to be. I don't think we can just accept things, you know, that things are just going to start happening where we left them off. Things are going to be different, and that's a good thing. So I think what I'm excited about rediscovering in terms of teaching and helping people find themselves through dramatic performance is this recovery from this long period of dormant living. And I think that the restrictions that the pandemic had on us have been most punishing to those facets of our lives which deal with human interaction, physical and emotional interaction, self-expression, you know, conversational wit, and trust as well, trust in each other, as we've all had different insecurities and we all feel differently about the virus. So I think this trust in each other and coming together plays a great part. Dramatic performance is there to help with all of these things. You know, the human interaction, the self-expression, the improvisation. Improvisation is the antidote to isolation. So I think for anyone who's ever considered doing this, or who might consider it after this interview, I think that engaging with this art can really help recover from the fears that we may have built over the past over a year. Due to the various levels of isolation at different times. And there are different kinds of fears. There's the fear of the virus itself, which once we start getting back into the world, we will have to overcome. And different people have been affected by it to different degrees. So making that commitment to come into a group of people is already the breaking of one barrier. But then also coming with the acceptance of different feelings about the virus is another barrier of trust that I think we can break through engaging with the dramatic performance and dramatic art. Then there's, of course, the self-expression, and in this, even this setup, like this video and Zoom, the Zoom that we've lived in past year, is just, I think, apart from draining, I find it draining. I've heard other people say that they find it draining as well, and I think I know what the reason for that is. I also think it's quite obvious. Apart from that, it's mono-expressive, because when you think about it, no matter what topic we're discussing and no matter who's in the room, so to speak, we're really only ever dealing with a handful of emotions and responses to one another. So
Mm.
in a way, we've been living in this recycling of the same handful of facets of ourselves for over a year, and never really, kind of growing beyond the framework of this screen.
Mm.
And I think that's quite unhealthy, to be honest with you. I'm looking forward to really engaging with other people on different levels with different emotions. Um, and I think a safe environment of a rehearsal space where we can explore that um, fictionally is a great place to start.
Mm. Well,
Yeah,
definitely. I hadn't, it's funny because I hadn't thought of that actually, how limited we have become in terms of emotion and self-expression.
yeah,
And it was funny how, when I've met up with you and we've had our lovely walks along the river, that feeling of connection that you feel with someone, it's just, you don't quite get that always on
yes,
screen. And
yes.
there's
When you're in
something,
a physical space. Yeah,
yeah.
I think it's worth reminding ourselves of that, because it's not like we don't have different swords. We do have different swords, and we imagine that we've gone through an emotional journey, but we've not really expressed ourselves with properly with people outside our closest circle of the household for a long time, most of us.
Mm,
Yeah. So
yeah.
engaging with one another in this dramatic context through lots of ways. Say through the physical warm-up exercises, then through the complicity and connectivity exercises. I can explain. I can give a couple of
Oh,
examples if you
yeah,
like.
yeah.
So yeah, but also, with the dramatic texts where things are fictional but real, or intangible but meaningful and poignant, is a great way to recover from this monotone communication that we've been having for the past year.
Okay.
Want to hear a couple of exercises? Is that
Yeah, I was
interesting?
thinking,
Yeah?
like,
No? Okay.
are you having to adapt your program to what you would normally run, your acting, sessions that you would normally do? Do you feel like with obviously you're catering for people that are coming in after a pandemic, do you
Mhm.
think the exercise and your focus will be different?
Well, now that you say it, I might have to consider doing that. I haven't,
On the spot.
to be honest with you. I haven't gone beyond the first lesson, and here's why. Um, the first lesson, or the tasters, different courses have different structures to them, but that first meeting is the time when I'm going to open up this discussion about how everyone feels and why they're here. That's what I
Yes.
always do, but this time uh, I expect different answers. I expect I will get a lot of, I couldn't wait to get out of the house. I couldn't wait. Yes, I couldn't wait to meet other people, and I couldn't wait to do something I've always wanted to do, but I've been postponing it, thinking that it's not the right time, or I'll do it next year, or I'll do it the year after next, and suddenly found myself in a lockdown for over a year, thinking, "Oh my God, what if I never get to do this thing?"
Yeah.
So I expect I'll get a lot of that, but who knows?
Yeah.
I'm open to hear how people feel. I've also been locked. I, I've also seen only a handful of people. So yeah, I'm going to be talking about my feelings as well. Thank you very much. Uh, yeah,
Good therapy.
yeah, I need a listening ear too. Um, yeah, so I have a rough idea of what exercises will help these feelings, but I don't want to take for granted people's motivations for coming to the course. It's very important to be authentic about that, and not, for them not to be guided into into saying something they think others want to hear. So yeah, on my main courses, I I get mostly people who have always wanted to do acting, but
Mm.
parents didn't let them, so they went off and did economics instead, and now they've woken up, and and they're going to finally do what they always wanted to do, or um, people who have done acting but want to get back into it. So there will probably be a lot of that too, people who have just been delayed by this year but wanted to do it anyway. So
Yeah.
I expect a lot of that. And in that sense, I
Mm.
will just carry on where I left off. But I plan my schemes of work and my lesson, I plan along, because I like to tailor them to the learners I have in the class.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, so my lessons are never the same. I never recycle lesson plans. I never recycle the schemes of work. They are always there for the people who are there, and for what they want to achieve. So I'm
Yes.
really looking forward to it. 6th of January, I'm getting back to the college and to the theatre, and it's very exciting and slightly nervous, like I said. But I think it'll be an amazing path to recovery for everyone involved.
Mm. No, I can imagine. I imagine just your kind of students being around you and just having those kind of
Oh,
conversations and those discussions. I think it's going to be wonderful
it's
therapy
going to
as
be
well.
great.
A
Mm,
chance to connect and express
yeah,
yourself in a different way. Um,
absolutely.
mm, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it's all about um, that path to a certain transformation and different state of being. So this different kind of state of existence and being that a lot of people haven't experienced before, if they've never done this, is really is a real breakthrough for many. I've seen a lot of enlightening moments in my teaching career from the people who have never done this before. So to come into that experience after um, after this strange period of isolation is going to be just formative for a lot of
mm,
people.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I know even someone like me who has never had a particular interest in acting, I think even after the pandemic and you almost kind of you sort of think, well, I've got through so many different overcome so many hurdles. Why not
Yeah.
try something like acting? Why not push my comfort zone even further?
Mhm.
So I think, like you said,
Mm.
there's gonna be people coming for all different reasons, whether it's
Yeah.
confidence, whether it's because
Yeah.
they want to pursue, their dream that they've always had. But
Hmm.
I think particularly, I know we've talked a lot around confidence on a lot of
Yeah.
these lives, and I think that's going to be hugely beneficial to actually do some of the exercises you I know you're going to tell us about. But just
Yeah.
I know my husband would, when he did the course with you, he would come home and say, "We did an exercise on just doing nothing. Like, how can you would give the group just to try doing nothing?" And the things that you just wouldn't think about, but it really was thought provoking. And there's so many things that he told me about that you taught him that have stayed with me and quite they've sort of turned into like real thought provoking moments. So
Yes. Yes, it's wonderful to hear. And the thing of confidence is something that comes up a lot in association with drama. Pe- people associate drama with confidence or acting with confidence. And I can understand that. But I have to say that I don't pay a lot of particular attention to confidence in my lessons. I don't
Okay.
teach people how to be confident, but I would like to think that they come out of the courses more confident, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And
Yes, it does, yeah.
yeah, we don't learn confidence. I think we learn more how to be okay with ourselves, how to be ourselves. And I think that from one another, mostly through failing. Oh, did I just say that? Um, yeah,
Yeah.
mostly through failing, which I think is a hugely understated tool, a self-teaching tool. Um, um, we realize that it's okay to be ourselves, and I think that's what gives people confidence. Um, yes,
Okay.
lots of different exercises, none of which have
Okay.
confidence, the word confidence in them.
Mm.
Nor is anyone ever expected to do anything they don't feel comfortable with, nor does anyone ever get put on the spot and asked to just deal with it. Nothing like that ever happens. People don't even do speeches unless they really insist on them. So
Okay.
you have to beg me to do speeches. so so
Very serious.
we mostly do children's games.
Oh, okay. So it's more
Yeah,
around play.
yeah. It's we play. It's a game. You know, on one level, it's a very simple game of make believe and pretend. So it's a children's world. But for us adults who, even without the pandemic, have been divorced, especially parents, have been divorced from this playful selves,
Mm.
um, you know, through the demands of responsibility and respectability, um, terrible enemies of playfulness, responsibility and respectability. I think we need a focused and the time and space for ourselves to say, I'm going to now go twice a week. I'm going into that world where I can be a child and I can just be silly and be myself and see if that's okay with everyone else. And of course, it always is. So it's a great discovery about yourself that you can inhabit a different state of being other than the one you're accustomed to, or one that you may have, you know, that state of
Mm.
being that you may have glimpsed once or twice, but never really learned how to access at will and play with
Mm.
and be creative with. And
Mm.
that's what this world is about: being creative with being silly.
Things, yeah. So,
Yeah.
so would you say then, actually, how to be ourselves is about accessing that world and going into this kind of play, creative world that helps us to be ourselves
Absolutely,
more?
absolutely, absolutely. That
Yeah.
helps us to discover ourselves. So
Okay.
there are facets of ourselves that we just don't exercise in our everyday lives. It's kind of as simple as that. We don't get that range of emotions and interactions in everyday life that we get, well, in literature, for example, in in dramatic art, in a game, in all these in artificially um, created and designed interactions, which are there to induce and to bring that out, that different facets of ourselves out. We don't get to
Mm.
do that in the everyday lives. So we need an environment and a platform
Yes.
you know, made just for that. And it's very healthy, and it's transformational for almost everyone who engages with it, in my
Mm.
experience.
But it's almost like having that kind of safe environment where, you obviously have someone like yourself who's very authentic and able to build up trust with people, and then
I
you're
hope
kind
so.
of giving them permission. It's a little
Hmm.
bit actually with my laughter work, because I, in a way, give them permission to be silly and laugh. Which
Hmm.
so you're creating this space for people to do that and
Hmm.
experiment and discover. It sounds wonderful. You're
Yeah,
inspiring me.
yeah, yeah. That's an interesting angle. You know, giving them the license to be. By coming to the course, they've already given themselves the license. They just don't quite know yet what they've given themselves the license for. That,
Okay.
that's what they're about to discover, you know, just how big and how fun and how easy it can be. That's one funny thing about drama, that, you know, it often frightens people who have not done it.
Mm,
Um, it appears in a sort of um, mainstream consciousness as something that requires confidence, but actually, it's a very simple activity which gives you the confidence rather than
okay.
requires it in order to do it.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I see.
you
Yeah.
know, there's nothing, there's absolutely nothing scary about my classes. No one ever feels scared in my lessons. You know, no one ever feels put on the spot. No, it's funny. You know, it's impossible. Um,
Mm,
so you're bound to come out of that feeling energized rather than feeling like you may have misunderstood the activity rather than, oh, I can do this. I've done it. I've done something scary and something that requires courage. No, it's not like that. You know, you've done something that requires courage by enrolling the course.
yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
else is easy. You know, the courageous thing is to make the commitment um, to something that you've never done before. The,
Mm.
the rest is just pure fun.
Well, I think if anyone was watching this, I'd be like, right, I'm going to enroll for an acting course.
I think you should. I think you should. I think it's the perfect time for it.
Well, I think this is, in a way, as we said, we have been all locked away, and I think this is a time to really live your dreams and go and try something different, and actually just yeah, that sort of self-discovery and meet people.
Abs-
And there's so many benefits of
Absolutely. It's easy and fun, and all you have to do is turn up.
yeah, yeah, like you
You
say,
don't
the
have to
hardest
do
part is
anything else.
enrolling.
Exactly, yeah. You have to carve a little bit of time in your life for it, and the rest is just easy fun, as life should be, and
Yeah.
as interactions with people should be, when we are
Mm.
fully ourselves and we have nothing to fear.
Well, again, I know with Cole, he would come away feeling really energized, and it
Mm,
benefited so many other aspects of his life,
yeah,
like, our relationship,
yeah,
family life. If someone's happy and
yeah,
sort of being able to be themselves and think, actually, I did that, and it
yeah,
made me feel really good about it. It's a boost, a self-esteem boost that actually,
yes,
crosses over in other aspects of your life. So
yes.
other people benefit from you as well.
I'm trying to imagine. You see, it's kind of difficult for me to imagine what it's like to have never done this, but to be
Yes, yeah.
thinking about it. So I'm always trying to kind of tune into the mindset of someone who's on the brink of engaging with this art, and how they might feel. it's
Yes.
different.
Yeah.
It's different for children, for example, and I've taught
Mm.
children as well. Children are kind of these days. Children are familiar with drama. They do a bit of drama at school. They have these art school drama clubs and stuff like that. And I think that by the time we get to the adulthood, and we've chosen obviously different paths, and we have not chosen this one. I think we come to we come to certain images and visions of drama being something that people on the screen and on stage do really well. And I think in
Mm.
our minds, we try to compare ourselves to them. And if we think that we can do it, then we
Yeah.
are good enough to go. But if we can't possibly imagine matching to that, then we're not fit for drama.
Oh,
It's
interesting. Yeah, that's
nothing.
true. Yeah.
It's nothing like that. Engaging with this art is very different to consuming it.
Okay.
Interacting with it is very different to consuming it. So they are almost like the mirror, So
Mm.
you're you understand what I mean. So
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you're watching someone, you're looking at a different at a different facet. You're looking at things upside down or the other way around.
Okay.
Getting into the rehearsal space and actually engaging with the exercises which bring people to the point where they can do something that you've seen
Mm.
is a very different process, very different experience. And the beauty of the drama, applied drama.
Mm.
So the dramatic activities which aren't designed for a production or for a performance, but are there um, to improve our well-being, um, are even better because they don't have a particular target, goal, or any pressure of achievement whatsoever in mind.
Mm.
They are just there, designed to make you feel better about yourself
Okay.
and,
Yeah.
and for you to
Mm.
connect with others in a more authentic way and in a
Okay.
more genuine and meaningful way,
Mm.
with
So
more
does that,
transparency, with more
mm.
sincerity, um, and integrity and honesty.
So does that mean that anyone can act?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Oh my God. Yeah,
You're
there's
reassuring
that
me. It's
question. There's
possible.
that question. Can I act? I mean, the um the idea that people, you asked me once this question about drama being in the blood and is it in the blood and stuff.
Mm.
I think that this idea that uh, acting is a talent that you're born with is really nothing but a ridiculous myth. It's a myth. Um,
Okay.
Anyone can do this, and anyone can do it well, and they can start at any point in their lives. Um, no, this myth of either being talented or not talented is it's fertilized by Hollywood, I think, to make the screen appeal have more integrity, But the screen appeal has got nothing to do with what I teach.
Mm.
I teach people to connect better with one another and to be more confident about themselves and who they are and to be more relaxed about it.
Mm.
Yeah,
Brilliant. Oh, it's this is really reminding me of Carmen, who's been on one of the lives before. So she's a singing teacher,
Uh-huh.
and vocal coach, and she has a very similar thing with singing. Everyone has got a voice, and and I think she's transformed the group that I'm part of into, we really have that self-belief that we can sing. I mean, you asked me a year ago, I wouldn't
Fantastic.
sing. And it's the same. I feel that with about you. I feel that, it kind of it sort of lifts any self-limiting beliefs that you have, that it is just you need to be talented, and we're actually,
Yeah.
anyone can do this, and it's about just
Mm,
being yourself and just
yeah.
using these exercises as a way to express yourself. So it's a very different way of thinking. Yeah, it's really making me
Yes.
think differently about this, and hopefully
Yes.
anyone watching this.
Yes. I mean, in any kind of performance, that there are, I guess there are two values to it. There's
Okay.
um, there's the experiential value. So you're
Mm,
singing, it's good for you. You're enjoying your voice because you can produce it, and you didn't think that you could do that. So that's great. But now that you know that you can do that, it still feels good because singing is good for you, and producing voice and sound is good for you. So that's that interactive experiential value of performing arts. And there's
mm,
this other value that I think the society has been locked in for a very long time, too long, which is this consumption value. So the question of, when I sing, it's one thing that I feel good about myself, but what do I sound like to others?
okay.
You
Yes.
know, so
Yeah.
there's
Mm,
that consumption of, okay, well, if I'm gonna sing for someone else, then they need to enjoy it, right?
yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think those are the thoughts that we've been stuck in for too long. When you're doing drama, singing, any performing arts for your own benefit, you don't have to think about that. It's not the
Mm,
point. I mean, we can invite someone to experience it, to watch it, to consume it, if you like,
mm,
or we may not. It's entirely up to us. We don't have to. There's no pressure. The value is already there. It's with us. We've already got what we wanted from it, and we're going to carry on. We're going to
yes. Yeah.
carry on.
Mm.
That's,
I think,
we are the doers and the observers. We are the actors and the audience. Does
yes.
that,
Yeah.
does that make sense? We are both, and we don't
Yeah.
need any external approval of what's happening here.
Mm.
We approve
Mm.
of each other.
I think that's the kind of critical voice, isn't it? If you can manage your own inner critic,
Yeah.
then obviously that can help with, what you put out there, and like you say, not having that validation from others, because that's quite key, isn't it? If you're doing something that's quite different, and if you've
Yeah.
never done anything before, and then, if you can just have that real self-belief in what you're doing.
Well, look, I mean, presenting art to others shouldn't be about validation anyway. It should be because you have arrived to a point in life where you've got something really urgent and important to communicate. And this particular art you find is a good vehicle for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what art should be about, and in that instance, it still doesn't matter whether you're validated or not, because you're not doing it for what's it called, Simon Callows or whatever. What are they called? The
Yeah.
Voice and the Talent.
Mm.
Yeah, Talent. Britain's Got Talent or whatever. These programs. Um, you're not doing it for that. That's
Mm.
you're not at an audition. When you're creating art, you're creating it because there's an urgency to communicate something in this particular way. Um, so you're not at an exam. You're still
No.
not at an exam, even then,
Mm.
even at the point of offering yourself for a consumption.
Yeah.
You know, you
No,
know,
that's really true.
you're still not doing it for validation, and that's what I think art is really about. You know, we have something we need to share, so we're going to share it. Not I have something I've learned. Do you want to see it? Who cares? You've learned it. Good. Enjoy it. Carry on. You know, yeah. Um, so,
You're You're reminding me of well, I lived in Paris for a couple of years, and there was a lot of performing arts in Paris. You know, I mean, all sorts of things going
yeah,
on. But
yeah.
I did find there that people were able to express themselves. You know,
Hmm.
it was a very free-spirited city. You know, and I found there was a lot of. I'm sure you have that in London as well. You know, just forgotten it a little
Yeah,
bit, but
yeah,
but it's that wonderful feeling where you can just be who you want to be and you are yourself and you can show and share that for other people's enjoyment.
yes. Um, we are always ourselves. You know, we mustn't forget that. You know, we
Mm.
are ourselves, especially when we are not ourselves.
I
Yeah. Um,
love that expression.
but there is there was a very interesting quote that I received in my son's newsletter, school newsletter this weekend. Actually, funny coincidence. It goes. It's by this American philosopher Emerson. It goes to be yourself in a world which is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. And
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
yeah, isn't it
Mm.
interesting that the head of an institution like a school has
Yeah.
has kind of found it important to remind us that that the world is well to remind the kids and maybe the parents as well, I don't know, that that the world is constantly trying to make us something else. And I
Mm.
think
Mm.
um, I think this is the key to why we have discussions about being ourselves. Otherwise,
Mm.
we are all ourselves all the time. But for some reason, at some point, it becomes pertinent and important to talk about being ourselves.
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
it suddenly becomes it's an issue. It's an issue being yourself, and I think it's because to really be ourselves in the world as it is almost a political act. It
Yeah.
requires a certain amount of courage. It
Mm.
it requires well, it requires non-conformity, and that's where the clash is. How do we get to be really truly ourselves and still fit in? That's what we're really
Always been a
asking.
question.
How can I do this? How can I fit in but not make anyone angry or not make anyone
Mm.
dislike me? You know, how
Yeah.
can I make
Yeah.
everyone like me and still be myself? Well, you have to like yourself first. You have
Yes.
to like yourself. You have to, you know, you have to accept it. And you have to
Mm.
accept that not everyone will like you. But, no, let me correct that actually. You have to accept that not everyone will like what you've got to say.
Mm.
But if you like yourself and if you are relaxed with who you are and light with who you are, not
Mm.
heavy or too
Yeah.
serious, you know,
Mm.
um, you will be accepted for whatever you think, as long as it doesn't harm others. And I am pretty
Very true.
sure that no one
Mm.
who comes to my classes is there because they want to harm someone else and still be liked, you know. It's about something else. It's about this. How do I break out of this conformity but still fit in? I,
Yes. Yeah.
I think that's where our issues with confidence come. I could be
Mm,
myself in the, on my own in the shower and, in the living room with my toothbrush, with my, hairbrush, and no one's watching. But how do I do that with others? Well, you just do. You keep doing it. You
yeah.
keep doing it. You make small
Mm,
steps and then larger and larger and larger. But
yeah.
coming to the group which nurtures
Mm,
the authentic behavior and where you get um, uh, supported in it by others who are going
mm,
through the same thing, you expand that level of comfort with yourself and you kind of take others with you, the invisible others, when you go
yeah.
outside that room too. I think that's
Yeah.
I think that's the process on the sort of individual level of the learners and participants.
What
Yeah.
they actually experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is so interesting.
Yeah.
I've learned. Time, Adna, has completely flown, and we've come to the end. And I still have lots of other questions to ask, but we'll do another live, I think, at a
Oh.
later day. Um,
Mm.
but um, but that has been so interesting. I think if anyone watching this hasn't thought about acting, I'm hoping this will give them a really different, I don't know, sort of change of mindset, or look at it as there's lots of different ways that that acting can benefit, and also life lessons from you. I think there's been lots of you know sort of during this, not just the acting, but just yeah, just I think lots of life lessons I think I've taken from it as well, which I'll try
Oh,
and
I hope so. I,
and
I feel like I haven't fully expressed myself.
oh, part two, don't worry,
Yeah.
we'll bring
I
you back
need more
on.
time. Need more questions.
Well, yes, so so if anyone's got any questions, or how can someone follow you, Adna? What's the best thing to do if
Well, you
what
can follow me on Instagram. Um, there is a website, my own website, my own blog, which tells you a lot about what I teach and how I teach it and where I teach. And if you live relatively locally to Richmond upon Thames, you can come and enroll a course there because that's where I teach, and I will be going back on site from the 6th of June. Yeah,
what lovely.
amazingly exciting for everyone involved. And I'm really looking forward to seeing my students again and reconnecting with this art in real terms.
And I think, from what we've talked about and knowing you as a person, I think your students are going to get so much from being around you, and just, I think this is just so important in the recovery and getting ourselves back in to the world again. I think there's so many benefits from the work that you're doing. It's so precious. So
It is.
um,
It's the
I'm,
perfect antidote to what's been happening to us in the past year, and a great way to kick off out of the lockdown.
yeah, definitely. I might be signing up in September. You never know.
Oh, it'd be great to have you there. Oh, so amazing.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. It's been
Thank you
really
for having me.
interesting. It's such a different world to what I've experienced, and I'm sure for other people as well. So I think you've really opened our minds to this, and yeah, we can all act and we can all
All
explore.
are welcome. All are welcome.
Brilliant.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, we're going to get you on for part two because there's still more things I'd love to ask you. So
I'd
we'll
love
continue.
to come back. See you
And what?
then.
Okay, take care. Have a great
Take
evening,
care.
time, and I'll see you
Bye.
soon. Thanks everyone for joining.